My family chose my sister's birthday party over my wedding. All 50 relatives went to her party. I got married alone at the courthouse. 2 weeks later, my husband's company went public. $70 million. Then my mom called, "We need to talk about the family." That day, I had a white dress, a small room, and a man who was ready to hold my hand. But no one from my family was there. All 50 of my relatives went to my sister's birthday party. I got married alone at the courthouse. 2 weeks later, my husband's company went public. $70 million. Then my mother called, "We need to talk about the family." My name is Emma Wilson. I am 29 years old and I grew up in a suburban area of Texas. I always believed family meant people stood beside you when life became difficult. But on my wedding day, I learned that some people only stand beside you when your happiness is convenient for them. My sister Sarah is 3 years older than me. She was always the center of attention in our family. She was beautiful, outgoing, and at every event, everyone's eyes naturally went toward her. My mother, Linda, often said, "Sarah brings happiness wherever she goes." About me, she would say, "Emma is very responsible." I knew there was a difference between those two sentences. Sarah was loved. I was depended on. And for many years, I accepted that difference. When I got engaged to Daniel, I was truly happy. Daniel Carter was a calm person. He didn't talk too much, but he always stood by his words. We met during a work project. At that time, he was already building his own company. The company was still small, a small office, a few employees, and a lot of dreams. My family liked him, but he was never someone special in their eyes because he wasn't famous or wealthy yet. When we finalized our wedding date, I thought my parents would be excited. I called my mother. "Mom, the date is final." She asked, "Which date?" I said, "June 15th. There was silence for a few seconds. Then she said, "Oh, Emma, Sarah's birthday is also that week." I said, "Yes, I know." She replied, "We'll see what we can do." Something felt strange at that moment. The wedding was mine, but somehow the conversation became about Sarah's birthday. 2 weeks later, my mother called me. "Emma, we decided we're going to Sarah's party." I went quiet. "What?" She said, "It's her 30th birthday. It's a special occasion." I quietly replied, "Mom, my wedding is also a special occasion." She answered, "You and Daniel can just go to the courthouse." That sentence was enough. I asked, "Are you really saying this?" She said, "We can't do everything at once." But the truth was simple. They had already chosen. They chose Sarah. On my wedding day, I woke up early. I put on my white dress. I didn't have a bridal party. There was no sister helping me with my hair. There was no mother watching me get ready. It was just me and Daniel. The courthouse room was small and quiet. The judge smiled and congratulated us. Daniel held my hand. "I'm sorry you have to go through this alone," he said. I said, "I'm not alone." I looked at him. "You're here with me." The day was simple, but it was real. That night, I saw pictures on social media, pictures from my sister's birthday party. My parents were there. My cousins were there. My aunts and uncles were there. Everyone was there. 50 people. And at my wedding, there were only 2 people. I turned off my phone. I didn't call anyone. I didn't ask anyone why, because some answers are already clear. For the next 2 weeks, I focused on my life. I started my new life with Daniel. Then one morning, he came to me. He had his laptop in his hand. "Emma, I have big news today." I asked, "What happened?" He smiled. "Our company went public." I congratulated him. I knew he had worked day and night for that moment, but I didn't realize how big the news was. A few hours later, the news was everywhere. Daniel Carter's company had reached a valuation of $70 million. Suddenly, the same people who didn't think my wedding was important started reaching out. The first person to call was my mother. I waited a long time before answering. "Emma, we need to talk about the family." I stayed quiet. She continued, "We know there were some misunderstandings recently." I asked, "Misunderstandings?" She didn't answer. "We want things to go back to how they were." I looked out the window. "Are you talking about my wedding?" Silence. Then she said, "We're sorry we couldn't be there." I replied, "No, Mom. You didn't fail to be there. You chose not to be there." She became quiet. Then she said, "But now we need to become a family again." I slowly answered, "We were always a family, Mom. I was just never treated like I was part of it." There was silence on the other end. A few days later, Sarah messaged me. "Are you really still angry?" I didn't respond. Then another message came. "We are happy for your success." I put my phone down because I knew they weren't happy about my success, they were interested in what my success could give them. I asked Daniel, "Do you think I should give them another chance?" He said, "That decision is yours. But remember, forgiveness and trust are not the same thing." That stayed with me. I didn't completely cut my family out, but I created boundaries. No more unexpected calls. No more only reaching out when they needed something. No more expecting me to forget everything every time. A few months later, my mother asked to meet again. We met at a coffee shop. She sat across from me. She said, "We lost you." I looked at her. "No, Mom. You lost me on the day you decided a party mattered more than my wedding." Her eyes filled with tears. But this time, I didn't feel guilty. I had spent years trying to keep my family happy. Now, for the first time, I was living my own life. Even today, when I look at my wedding pictures, I remember the empty chairs. But I don't miss the people who wanted to be there but chose not to come. I'm only grateful for one thing: the person who held my hand that day was standing right beside me. My family chose a party over my wedding, but in the end, they lost something much bigger, the place they once had in my life. If Emma's story touched your heart and you enjoyed this journey of strength, family, and self-respect, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe for more emotional stories. Thank you for watching and supporting us. Your support means a lot and helps us continue sharing powerful stories that inspire and connect with viewers everywhere.